What's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and today I'm going to be doing the $30 budget build of the new Traptrix structure deck. So I'm really excited to do this for you guys because this is using 3 of the new Traptrix structure deck, which is an awesome structure deck that gave us all sorts of really good Traptrix support and even gave us some amazing reprints, making it super easy to make a deck using just 3 of the new structure deck. So without further ado guys, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can become part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards, like getting your name scratched in every single video, getting a signed cards in the mail, and even getting to request a deck profile every single month to your patron. So without further ado, let's get straight on into this. So first off, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Traptrix Pudica. This card is a definite 3 of in the deck and has some really good effects so that it's unaffected by the effects of whole normal trap cards, just like all of your other main deck Traptrix monsters. And it also says that you can only use each of the following effects of this card once per turn, that when this card is normal summon, you can add 1 Trap Trip Garden from your deck to your hand. And if this card is special summoned, you get to target a special summon monster to your opponent controls and banish it. Also, during the next standby phase, your opponent can special summon 1 monster that they have banished, which is a really good effect to be able to just deal with one of your opponent's monsters. We then play 3 copies of Traptrix Arachnacampa. This card is a really awesome extender for the deck, and I'm really glad that this deck finally has a really good card that can be special summoned from your hand, with an awesome effect that the first time each set card in your spell and trap card zone would be destroyed by card effect each turn, it is not destroyed, giving you some protection from cards like Twin Twister and even Harpy's Feather Duster. It also has the ability during the main phase, if you control a Traptrix monster, quick effects, you can special summon this card from your hand. Also, you can't special summon monsters from the extract for the rest of the turn except insect or plant monsters, which is totally fine because you can always summon out Traptrix monsters because they're all insect or plant monsters. We then play 3 copies of Traptrix Marmelio. Marmelio is one of the best normal summons in the entire deck because it has the ability that when this card is normal summoned, you get to add a whole normal trap card from your deck to your hand. And if this card is special summoned, it has a mandatory effect to target a spell or trap your opponent controls and destroy that target, which is a great effect to be able to use to just pop an opponent's spell or trap. We then play 3 copies of Traptrix Mantis. This card is basically the Stratos of the deck, that when this card is normal summoned to your side of the field, you can add a Traptrix monster from your deck to your hand, which is a super good effect to be able to use to just instantly search out a Traptrix that you need. We then play 2 copies of Traptrix Diana. This card is a really good 2 of them in the deck, but I only feel like you need 2 copies in this build and the full version of this deck because this card requires you to have a Traptrix in the graveyard to use its effect. Because when this card is normal summon, you get to target a Traptrix monster in your graveyard and special summon that target in defense position, which is a great effect to be able to use, but you do need a Traptrix monster in the graveyard to resolve that effect, which is a awesome effect, but I feel like 2 is totally fine. We then play a single copy of Vesiculo. Vesiculo is a good 1-of extender in this deck, but I only feel like you need a single copy of this card in the build. We then play 3 copies of Ash Blossom, which was reprinted in the structure deck, which is just super cool to have Ash Blossom as another reprint for this particular deck, and it's a great hand trap just to stop your opponent from touching the deck. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're going to be playing a single copy of Harpy's Feather Duster. Harpy's Feather Duster is always a great card in any deck to be able to destroy your opponent's back row, and it's a great 1-of in this build. We're then playing 3 copies of Raigeki, which I actually got a misprint Raigeki in one of my structure decks, which actually has a really cool little red dot, which is really neat for this card to have, but it's a great card in this particular deck just to be able to destroy your opponent's monsters. Plus, it's a great 3-of in this build. We're then playing a single copy of Trap Garden. This card is a really neat card in the deck, but you only need a single copy of this card in the build because it is searchable in this deck, but it has 3 really good effects. That during your main phase, you can normal summon 1 Traptrix monster in addition to your normal summoner set, being a double summon, and the first time each insect or plant monster you control would be destroyed by battle each turn, it is not destroyed. And it also has the ability you can banish 1 monster that you control and special summon out 1 Traptrix monster from your hand or graveyard, which is an awesome effect to be able to use in this deck. We then also play 3 copies of Trap Tantalizing Tomb. This is a great draw card for this deck, just to help you dig into the deck for the exact cards that you need, because it lets you discard a level 4 insect or plant monster or 1 normal trap card to draw 2 cards, which is a great effect to be able to use just to dig into the deck for the exact cards that you need. It also has the ability to banish this card from your graveyard and then target 1 of your banished level 4 insect or plant monsters or a normal trap and place it on the bottom of the deck, which helps you recycle some of your resources, which is really nice. So that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get into the traps. So for the traps, we're going to be playing a single copy of the classic Bottomless Trap Hole. This is a really good one-of in this particular deck to be able to use just to destroy your opponent's monsters when they're summoned. That when your opponent summons a monster with 1500 or more attack, destroy that monster with 1500 or more attack, and if you do, banish it, which is really good because it doesn't even go to the graveyard. We then play a single copy of Grave Trap Hole. This is a really good one-of in this particular build just to stop your opponent from hand trapping you, and it's really good to combo with your copy of Rafflesia to be able to use it when you need it. It also does 2000 points of burn damage, which is just really nice for this deck. We then play 2 copies of Terrifying Trap Hole Nightmare. This is a really awesome new trap hole card that we actually got out of the structure deck, that if your opponent has a special summon monster, or if your opponent has special summon a monster this turn, target 1 monster that your opponent controls with 2000 or more attack and destroy it. And if you have a whole normal trap card in your graveyard, you can banish 1 monster in your opponent's graveyard, which is a great effect to be able to use just to deal with your opponent's cards. We then play 2 copies of Traptrix Trap Hole Nightmare. This card is kind of like Solemn Strike, which is really neat. Then when a monster that was special summoned this turn activates its effect on the opponent's field, you negate that effect, and if you do, destroy that card, which is a really neat effect for this card to have, and it's just a great 2-of in this build. We're then playing 2 copies of Floodgate Trap Hole. Floodgate Trap Hole is really good as a 2-of because it's going to flip your opponent's monsters face down and they cannot be flipped back up, which is just really, really good. We then play 3 copies of the new Traptrix Holtia. Holtia is so good. This card is basically like the new Shade Brigadine for this deck, which is just really nice because you can activate this card the same turn it was set by discarding 1 normal trap card. And then you special summon this card in Defense Edition as a normal monster that's a plant, Earth, level 4, 400 attack with 2400 defense, which is massive for defense points, and it is not treated as a trap. You can also banish this card from your graveyard and then target 1 Traptrix monster in your graveyard and special summon it, which is such a good effect to be able to use with this card. We then play 3 copies of Evenly Matched, which was included in the structure deck, which is just such a good reprint for this structure deck to have, and a great card to be able to break your opponent's board with this deck. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Traptrix Adipus. This card is a really good Link 3 for the deck. It's just absolutely crazy how massive it actually makes some of your Traptrix monsters. That this card's Link Summon this Link Summon card is unaffected by trap effects, and all Traptrix monsters that you control gain 1000 attack while you have a normal trap in your graveyard. And once per turn, you can target face-up cards your opponent controls up to the number of insect and plant monsters that you control and negate their effects until the end of the turn. Then you can apply this effect to banish 1 normal trap from your graveyard, and if you do, destroy 1 of those targeted face-up cards, which is a crazy powerful effect for this card to have. We then play 2 copies of Curlia. This card is just a good 2-of in the deck. I don't feel like you need any more than 2 copies of this card, but it's almost a Link 1 because it has the ability that it basically has the effect that this Link Summon card is unaffected by trap effects, and you can only use the following effects this card once per turn. After you activate a whole normal trap card, you can set it instead of sending it to the graveyard, so you get multiple uses out of your trap holes. And during your end phase, you can target 1 Traptrix monster in your graveyard and special summon it in Defense Position, which is great because you can actually bring back one of the materials that you used to summon out this card. We then play 3 copies of Traptrix Sarah. Traptrix Sarah is an awesome Link 1 and one of the best cards in the entire extract just to extend your plays, and a card that you're going to be summoning all the time in this deck. It's super good in this particular build, and it's a great reprint for Traptrix. We then play 3 copies of Traptrix Rafflesia. Rafflesia is a awesome card in this deck. Basically just putting this card in defense position. When you meet the requirements for one of your trap holes in your deck, you can actually use them basically as if it was already on the field, which is just super cool for this card to be able to do. It's a definite 3-of in the $30 budget build. We then play 2 copies of Alamiras. Alamiras is really good in this particular deck, but I only feel like 2 copies is all you really need for this card. It lets you detach 2 materials from this card to special summon out 1 level 4 insect or plant monster from your graveyard, which is a great monster reborn effect for this card to have. We then play 2 copies of Pellicula, which is a great card in this particular deck to be able to play. It's basically like Roto, which is just such a good effect to be able to use because you can once per turn detach a material from this card to add 1 Traptrix monster from your deck to your hand, which is just a super good effect to be able to use. Plus, it has 2,500 attack points, and with your copy of Adipus on the field, it's actually going to go up to 3,500, which is absolutely massive for this card, and it's one of the main boss monsters of the deck. So, that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you do enjoy. This deck is super fun to be able to play. If you guys have never played Traptrix before, you definitely should give this deck a try. Definitely be on the lookout for the full-fledged version coming to the channel extremely soon, and definitely check out the opening as well. If you guys have not picked up your Traptrix structure decks, I highly recommend it because it has all sorts of amazing reprints, and this structure deck is crazy. So, anyways, guys, this is DarkArmedDuelist. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell and there's income for our notification squad, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.